So Ryan Reed of App Dice fame and a lot of other great stuff had shown me his one screen the other day. As you know, I have a one screen website for my iPad, and he actually did a video for his, which I thought was really interesting, and to kind of give a different take um, on what the one screen looks like. So I thought what I'd do. Um, I'm new to a Google district this year, and so I'm using Chrome a lot more, and there is a tab redirect extension in the web store. And what that does is every time I open a new window, it takes me to this tab that has all of the apps that I normally use on it. So I thought I'd do a quick overview of my Chrome one screen. So if we start in the upper left-hand corner, Google Calendar, fairly obvious one. I'm very reliant on my calendar. I try and put stuff in as soon as possible, and I always joke that if it's not on the calendar, it's probably not going to happen because I'm not going to remember. So Google Calendar is a big one. Gmail, obviously, is what we use for our email, so that's a pretty important one. Google Plus is something that I have been using a lot more. Obviously, all of our teachers have Google accounts, and a lot of them have set up their Google Plus page. So I've been trying to do a lot more sharing there and looking at more ways to explore that. I know some schools use Google Communities a lot within their school districts, so I'm looking at ways to do that here as well. Google Drive, obviously an important piece. That's where all of my documents are stored. I don't really store anything on my computer anymore. Google Docs, if I want to go quick, I know it's a doc that I've been working on, or I know I'm going to create a new doc. I really like the docs, and then also slides for presentations. I really like just the interface of them. Google Drive updated in August or July of 2014, and so it looks a little bit nicer, but I really like Google Slides and Docs. Kind of reminds me a lot more of the iPad versions, which I like. Google Classroom is something that's really big in our district. We've had it since the Friday before teachers came back, and they've really started to embrace it. And so we have looked at getting this put on students' tabs as well. So that's an important one that takes me to that website. TweetDeck. Twitter is an essential part of my learning, and TweetDeck, in the past, I've used just kind of the single columns. TweetDeck sometimes overwhelms me just with the number of columns that are there, but it does do a good job of, especially as we try and grow hashtags here at Lewis Central. It's a great way for me to kind of sort those out and see them instead of them getting lost in the big stream of information that I have from the 1,200 or so other people that I follow. YouTube, obviously, another big part of professional development, not just learning from it, but publishing to it. Obviously, this is going to be on YouTube here in a little bit, and I've been using Screencastify, which is a free Chrome extension that does screen recording. There's really not any editing with it, but it does work pretty slick. I use Pocket quite a bit, and I tell people, and I mean this somewhat seriously, but Pocket is really kind of like a purgatory for me, where I find something on Twitter, or I find something on Flipboard, or I find something on Zeit, and I can save it to my Pocket and come back to it later when I have time to sit down and read, and then I can decide if I want to keep it and save it into Evernote or discard it and go on. So I do that a lot. On my phone, I use Tweetbot, and that also lets me save to Pocket. So if I find an article that looks interesting, but I either don't want to read it on my screen, or I don't want to, or I don't have the time to read it right then, I can put it into Pocket, and then I can look at it later and decide if I want to share it back out, or I want to just discard it. Snagit is another way to either do screen recording or to do like just a picture screenshot, I guess, of your screen. The nice thing about Snagit, I'm still a really big Sketch user, but the nice thing about Snagit is it will store it in your Google Drive. It saves it directly there. It is another Chrome extension, but So I use it a little bit. I'm getting to use it a lot more, just because of that Google Drive integration. Evernote is really still where I take all my notes. If I'm at a meeting, if I'm on my iPad, I still use Penultimate quite a bit to handwrite notes. Um, uh, Again, saving articles for later. I don't necessarily use social bookmarking anymore. I use Evernote, and then I do my sharing out through um, Twitter. The bottom two left ones are actually websites. The first one is Bright Bytes, which is technology data, I guess is a simple way to put it. There is a clarity test that we had students and staff take in grades 3 through 12 last spring, or last February, I guess. And we're looking at doing it again. But it is a great way to get data on what people think about technology or how it's being used in the classroom. And I've really tried to dig in and look at it from an instructional tech perspective about how I can better serve staff and students. So I have a link to that there. And then the next one is a link to the website that I'm using to store all my stuff for staff, an instructional technology one. I got tired of going to sites.google.com and then figuring out where mine was as I've started being added to other sites. And so with both of those, I just drug them into this tab. If you either drag a shortcut to the desktop, then you can drag that shortcut back in here to this tab. Otherwise, if you have both tabs open, this apps tab and the website that you want, you can click on the little icon to the left of the URL and then just drag it on top of this tab, and it will show up here on your apps page. Pandora and Spotify for music listening, obviously an essential part to the day. The web store, I'm always looking for new extensions and apps. Again, it's a little bit new to me, the Google Apps stuff. And so I'm always trying to find something new or find different ways to do it, anything to save time and stress. And then lastly, there's a little timer. So if I'm doing professional development and I want to give teachers a visual of how much time we have left, there's a quick little timer, nice and clean. Nothing too fancy, but it works. So that is my Chrome One Screen.